फाइनली वी आर बैक इन कनाडा। काफ़ी मशक्क़त के बाद हम कनाडा वापस पहुंच ही गए। सो हमने सोचा हमारा एक्सपीरियंस बाकी लोगों के साथ भी शेयर कर सकें सो दैट उनके लिए हेल्पफुल रहे कुछ टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स। So the reason why we traveled to Canada during this travel ban was that our work visa was getting expired in mid of June, and we had to either go on the LWP or the conversion from the payroll from Canadian payroll to Indian payroll. So that's the reason it was mission critical for us to travel back to Canada. So to give you a brief background about us, I traveled along with my family, me, my wife, and my 2.5-year-old daughter. We traveled through Serbia, and it was a 3-day journey. It was a long and tiring, exhausting journey, but it was memorable experience. Coming on to the visa type, what we were having, I was having a closed work permit. My wife is having a open work permit, and my daughter is on visitor record. And we were considered under returning workers. We both are having me and my wife both are having the job offer letters. So this is the very brief background about us. So our initial plan was to return to Canada on 23rd of May, but that also got extended and the flight got cancelled. So after 23rd of May, I tried exploring multiple options. Like I tried looking for Ethiopia, Mexico, and Serbia. I got to know through one of the WhatsApp group. So I heard about many people experience that they have traveled through Ethiopia, but the Ethiopia route was so much expensive. Then I thought it's better to try some other option which other people have tried, like the Serbia. That was one of the newest route which people have opted. Coming on to the itinerary portion, I booked the first flight from Delhi to Belgrade. That was via Frankfurt. This route was through Lufthansa Airlines, and the second leg, like from Belgrade to Toronto via Amsterdam. This was through KLM Airlines. But there was some confusion at that point of time that Frankfurt is allowing transit or not, and I didn't find any experienced person who traveled through this route at that point of time. So I preferred to be on the safer side, and I opted for the Qatar Airlines, for which the route was from Delhi to Doha, Doha to Istanbul, Istanbul to Belgrade. Even though I won't recommend that you should be opting a flight which is having a layover at Istanbul, because we had some issues over there and they took confirmation from Serbia and later on they gave confirmation, but I won't recommend that option. Now if we come on to the baggage limit, Qatar Airlines was providing like 25 kg per person and 7 kg as a hand baggage allowance, whereas KLM was allowing 23 kg plus 12 kg as a cabin allowance. But I was carrying around 25 to 26 kg, and no one restricted me. They were okay with this kind of weight. So my journey was going to start from 8th of June from Delhi, and the first RT-PCR test, which I got it done at Kota on 6th of June to be on the safer side, because I was traveling through train from Kota to Delhi. But no one checked neither at Kota or Delhi for the RT-PCR report, but that I got it done for the safer side. And as you might be knowing that to travel to Serbia, your test should be the 48 hours on arrival on Serbia. So for that, when I reached Delhi airport on 7th morning, I got the test at that point itself. So on 7th of June around 10 a.m. we reached Delhi airport, and between arrival gate 5 and 6 there is a lift. From there you have to go on level 1. Over there they are conducting the RT-PCR COVID test facility. They're charging 800 per person. They will be giving you one form which you need to fill it out, and to be frank, there is no place during this time when you will get test done, and by the time you will get a report. So at that point of time we opted for a launch facility. That was a paid launch. It was always something I will share the details. They were charging 1200 per person. I will share some of the photos if I have some. And the food was like the snacks and the basic snacks were included. So this 1200 was for initial 4 hours, and if you want to continue your stay over there, you have to pay 300 per hour. But I won't recommend that. If in case you are planning to come on a day before to get your test done at the airport itself, so I would recommend you to book a hotel in Delhi or wherever you are planning to go, so that would be easier. So on that day we stayed for near about 2 or 3 hours at that lounge, and then we later on booked 4 Point by Sheraton. It was like 8 kilometers from Delhi airport, and it costed us near about 1700. So we reached around 2 p.m. and stayed till 11 p.m. over there. Though the food was very expensive over there, but it was as we were traveling for a 3 or 4 days journey, we thought it would be better if we can take a rest before starting the. So our RT-PCR test was done at the Delhi airport around 10:30 or 11 a.m. and we got the report by 2:30. As per the COVID Delhi report lab, they have mentioned that they give results within 6 to 8 hours. So that is the standard time, but I'm sharing the times within which I got the result. My flight was from on 8th of June 3:35 a.m. We left our hotel around 11 p.m. We reached Delhi airport on the arrivals, and we collected our RT-PCR report. So the main thing in RT-PCR report, you need to validate your name and the passport over there, passport details over there. So because that is critical. Many person have filled the Aadhaar details in the initial form. So it is recommended that if you're traveling international, you should always mention your passport number over there. Coming on to the Qatar Airlines boarding section. So when we reached out over there, they gave us one form which was all asking about the details, where are you traveling, and your passport details and everything, ticket reference number and all. So when there was a long queue for the Qatar Airlines, and when we reached at the counter, they asked for the RT-PCR report, why you're traveling to Serbia, and they asked our Serbia hotel accommodation, and they asked from there, are you traveling somewhere else? So we told that clearly, we mentioned that we would be traveling to Canada. So for that they asked us to give a valid visa if you are having or not. So we mentioned that we are having a work visa, but just want to mention that one of the person who was standing ahead of us in the queue, he was on student permit, and the Qatar Airlines executive validated each and every document which he provided, and he asked his supervisor to confirm whether he can travel or not. But finally, he was allowed to travel through Qatar Airlines. Just want to mention one important point, that as a flight was from Delhi to Doha, Doha to Istanbul through Qatar Airlines, and from Istanbul it was through Air Serbia. So what the Qatar executive told us, that you won't be getting the boarding passes for Air Serbia, and that you would be getting at Istanbul airport as well. But that is the tricky portion over there, because we faced some issue at Istanbul, and that we would be covering at the later section. So after we got our boarding passes for the Qatar Airlines, we got into the immigration, and immigration didn't ask for anything critical. Like, they asked the basic question, where are you traveling, and what is your final destination, and they stamped. So that was not at all a tricky part. Well, okay. So our first flight was from Delhi to Doha. It was a 3-hour flight, and it was an excellent in terms of quality, food and service. Then we reached to Doha after 3 hours, and there was a 2-hour layover. So after 2 hours of layover at Doha, we changed our flight from as we were already having the boarding passes for Istanbul. It was a smooth transition to flight from Doha to Istanbul. But after reaching it, that was also a 4-hour journey flight. After reaching Istanbul, we had to get our boarding passes. So Istanbul, it was a tricky thing, because when we had to get our boarding passes for Serbia, so they asked each and every document, whatever we are having, and why you're traveling to Canada, and they took a snapshot of passport, visa, and work permits. They sent it to the Serbia immigration services to get a confirmation. So we landed in Istanbul at around 1 p.m. And we got a confirmation from Serbia immigration services that you can board the flight around 3:30 p.m. So if in case our layover is very less over there, in that case it could be a tricky thing. And the main thing what we noticed, that in Istanbul, the people are not having a good like they are not comfortable in English, so that becomes a tricky portion when we are trying to communicate with them. So if you can opt out for the Istanbul route, that it would be, I would say, it is recommended. If you're having a direct connecting flight, you don't have to get boarding passes from Istanbul. That is easy to go with. Now coming on to the last fun part, that a flight from Istanbul to Serbia, that was through Air Serbia. It was such a bad flight, I would say. Like buses are better than that particular flight. It was such a small flight that hardly 100% can sit in it, and it was so noisy that seats are very uncomfortable. There is no leg space, and the AC was not working, and I thought I was sitting in a roadways bus. And when we boarded the flight, I asked the executive or the Air Serbia executive that our luggage is already transitioned, right? Because we were traveling from Delhi and we were traveling through Qatar Airlines, right? So he told me that we took a confirmation that your luggage is already in this flight, and we boarded the flight. Okay, and when we reached out on Belgrade, Serbia, so they told us that all the luggage for all the passenger is left out at Istanbul because the plane couldn't take the load. So they left our luggage at Istanbul itself. So we were without clothes, without our essential things for 2 complete days in Serbia. So it it was a bit frustrating, but we were so tired that we thought we went to buy some clothes from there itself and all, but we didn't buy it. And we booked our cab from hotel itself, so they charged near about 20 euro, and that was. So we reached hotel at around 8 p.m. And in Serbia the weather is very very good, and I would highly recommend this hotel, Hotel Capital. It's in the center downtown. I would say it's the party place, that the cafes, lounge, and the restaurants and bars are on the street, so you don't have to go any other place. It's right over there. So we took a quickly refreshed ourselves, and we went for the lane. And coming on to currency, I carried near about 600 euros, and like if you're carrying the Canadian credit or debit card as well, that is also fine, but you would be charged on that. I got it from my known, and like for 1 euro there is a conversion rate of 117 RSD. So that is the local currency which is accepted everywhere. So on the first night I exchanged near about 50 euros, and I got near about 5800 RSD, and we bought some chips and all. So it was cheap, like it's like Indian currency. And we went to a restaurant as well on the first night, and it didn't cost it costed near about 4000 RSD. So I won't say Serbia is very cheap, and it's a fun place to live. So now is the date, it's 9th of June, and our first preference was to get our COVID test done. For that, first we went to bank, but at bank they told us that as you're not a resident of Serbia, you have to go to post office to pay the amount for the COVID test. Then we went to post office. Over there, we paid in euros, and they automatically internally converted it into RSD, and they charged us around 27,000 RSD for 3%. So post office usually opens at 8 a.m. onwards, and over there you would be getting a payment receipt. That payment receipt you have to carry to show that you have already made the payment. After getting the payment receipt, we targeted for the Olag Institute, and for that we asked hotel to provide a cab. They called a paying taxi, and it is a meter-based cab system over there. And from our hotel to the Olag Institute, it costed around us 850 RSD. So it was a 20 or 30 minutes drive from our hotel. Over our payment receipt, and they asked us to go to the counter number 2, where they got our test done quickly within 5 minutes, and they told us that the results you would be getting before 8 p.m. And from there we took a return cab, and it costed us around the same, that 800 to 900 RSD. For the return cab from the Olag Institute to your hotel, you can ask the security guard. He will direct you where exactly you need to go to get a cab. So over there, the taxi stands are like there is a marking on the road written as taxi. There you have to stand, so any passing by taxi would stop over there and you can opt for that. It's a meter based system, so you don't have to worry about it. On 9th of June evening, we went around for some cafes and restaurants and bars. Over there we enjoyed, and around 6:30 I dropped them an email like to Ruth Olak Institute to give my result, but I didn't get a response, and by 8 p.m. Around 8 p.m. I got a result that they have sent it manually, but though they have sent it to us at 6:30 as well, but somehow I didn't receive it. It might be in some junk or spam mails. The flight was on 10th of June, 6:30 a.m. We checked out hotel around 2 a.m. as we had to collect our luggage as well from the airport, because they make like the lost and baggage found team called us and they told us that your luggage has arrived. So that's why we left a bit early, because though it's like a complete airport was empty at that point of time. To reach airport from our hotel, it costed around 1800 RST. That was also through a meter based cab. At Air Serbia boarding counter, they checked our Canadian visa, RT-PCR report, our ICANN receipt, and work permits, and it took near about 30 to 45 minutes for their verification and validation, and after that they handed over us boarding passes. This flight from Air Serbia was till Amsterdam, and from Amsterdam we had a different flight for KLM, but we got both our boarding passes at through Air Serbia counter as well. And one thing, important thing, that you won't be able to web check in through Air Serbia or KLM, because they have some kind of agreement, so you won't be able to web check in. But once you would be reaching at the airport, they would be giving both the boarding passes together at Serbia itself. So just want to mention that Air Serbia won't provide you any meals; they just provide water and a biscuit. So if you're hungry, prepare well in advance. And from Serbia to Amsterdam, it was a 2.5 hour journey flight, and there was a layover of around 1 hour 50 minutes at Amsterdam. So at Amsterdam, when we reached, they checked our like they did our basic health screening, like took our temperature and asked us to fill out forms. And at the boarding counter, they thoroughly checked our work permits and asked us what kind of visa category you're having, and the other job documents if you're having. So they didn't ask about the job offer letter at any point of time. So many people have that questions, but in my scenario, they didn't ask it. And so KLM flight was completely empty. I would say it was hardly 10% occupied, and the food was good but with limited options. And I would recommend that you can opt for KLM. They are having good service. After reaching to Toronto, the first thing you need to get is that you need to pre-register for the Switch Health to get your COVID test done. So that you can do at any point of time when even before your journey start. So that is highly recommended, because otherwise you have to do it at the airport itself. So it's a 5 minute stuff. You can do it at the before starting journey, and it is free of cost. So you just need to register it. Okay. Then the next stop is you have to go on to the automated machine. There you have to scan your passport, and they will ask you to declare what things you have brought, and how many passengers you are traveling with, if you are having any symptom, and how if you have visited India or not. So after all this verification, it would be generating a receipt. With that receipt, you need to move forward to the immigration officer. At immigration, I think so Canada, the overhyped thing was that they are very like strict about it, but I didn't find that, and they asked me about my work permit and the visa details. That's it. And as I was in India in last 14 days, they are redirected us to public health. And at public health as well, they ask very basic questions which are in our ICANN, that what is your quarantine plan, how you are going to, have you booked your hotel, and they would ask for their ICANN validation. That's it. It was pretty much simple, and even though my flight was having a layover of Amsterdam, it was not a direct flight for Toronto. They noted it down, but and they gave us a go ahead after a while. So overall, it took us around 15 minutes at public health, and then we were asked to go to Switch Health. Over there, we got our COVID test done, and they provided us one more kit, home test kit. That test we have to get it done after 8 days, and so we gave our test at Canada Airport around 1:30 p.m. and after that we were asked to move to hotel, and based on the hotel which you have selected, you would be asked to go to that gate. So in our case, we booked a DoubleTree by Hilton. It's the airport west one. So it costed us around 1,300 Canadian dollars, and it was for 3 days. But we got our test done within, like, we got our RT-PCR reports within 10 hours. So we checked out from our hotel next day. Even I checked from the hotel customer service that if the unused night can be refunded or not. So they completely denied that it can't be refunded. So now I'm back at my place. I hope so. My experience is helpful, and just want to clear it out. This is based on our experience. It might vary from person to person. If you have any concerns or questions, you can drop us a comment in the comment box. I would be happy to help you. Thank you.